Okay, well, welcome back to the final, the last, the ultimate part 4 of week 3's From Ideologies to New Imperialism. We talked about case study number 1, where British took control of Egypt and how that sort of dominoed into a much bigger mess that they really didn't want to be in the first place. But now I want to take another one, and we're going to look at case study number 2, because what begins as a good intention in order to deal with new situations doesn't always end in good results. And just like our last case study ended up resulting in unwanted results with Britain, this one is no different, but has a much worse end. And again, we're looking at this domino effect. Somebody had, some country, some big dog, one of these stronger people looking at the weaker country, weaker people group. They're looking to protect. We want to protect. We want to take care of these so that no bully, no predator can come in and knock it out. And so they set in motion that first domino. It starts going. And it gets faster and faster and faster, but it starts to spread. And as more and more people are drawn into it, that passion, like we talked about last video with that Machiavellian passion, it may turn from what was originally a good passion, a good motive, to now it is a self-serving, more greedy, more evil type of outcome. And we're going to look at that one this time. We're going to look at the Berlin Conference. The Berlin Conference was a moral catastrophe. The picture, the sketch on the right there, this is a grouping, a gathering in 1884 of a whole variety of different powerhouses: Austria-Hungary, Belgium, Denmark, France, Germany, Great Britain, Italy, the Netherlands, Portugal, Spain, Russia, Sweden, Norway, Turkey, and the United States also had a little hand in it as well. These are the big boys, the big dogs. These are the big brothers of the world, the ones who had the powerhouse. And they're looking at their situation and being honest, they're recognizing, hey, in our venture to be top dogs and be able to outpower each other, we have to take care of the people who can't do that, who can't take care of themselves. We need to come alongside them and protect them, and that was their goal. But they're recognizing this great divide, this power divide. There's opportunity for the strongest now to oppress the weakest, and this is a really, really, really big danger in the world. So all the alpha dogs are gathering together and trying to come up with a humanitarian response to their moral obligation to take care of the weaker person. And so what kind of choices do they have? What can they do? As they have this power, what can they do? Well, and this is anybody who had that power anywhere around the world. It's not just Western Europe. So for instance, United States had to consider this question when it came to the Native Americans as they're moving west. Britain had to think about this in its territories, for the Native Australians in New Zealand. Canada, what does Russia do with the Central Asian people? And then Belgium is going to end up having to deal with it with Central Africa, specifically the Congo region. And so what can they do? Well, what you can do is you can just move in and just destroy the weaker ones. That way you don't even have to worry about it. You could do that. You could protect the weaker ones. You could subjugate and enslave the weaker ones. Or you could assimilate them and make them equals, treat them just as equals. Now, reality says that ain't going to happen, and we're going to take the Congo as an example. It was extremely weak militarily, and it was easy pickings for any predator to come along and just mess it up. So, do we destroy, protect, subjugate, and enslave, or assimilate? Well, this is supposed to be humanitarian. It's supposed to be for the greater good. It's supposed to be a responsible move, a duty to those who can't take care of themselves. So the focus, the intention with the Berlin Conference was, look at all these African countries, look at all these countries around the world. We got to do something to put systems in place to protect these people. That was the intention of the Berlin Conference. Today, you will not find that in history books. What you will find is a bunch of cartoons with greedy people trying to cut up and slice and dice Africa. That may have been the end result, but that was not the initial intention. All indications, all records seem to point that they wanted to do what was right in the community of the globe. And that was to figure out what to do. And they wanted to protect. So how do you protect? Well, you create sanctuaries. You put borders around a particular people group or nation or country, and you sort of, kind of like the wall. You put a big wall around it, a big fortress wall around it, and you protect the people inside. You don't let people come in and go out just, willy-nilly. You make sure that the people that are trying to get in are there to do benefit for those people. That's the humanitarian. It's taking care of them. It's the damsel in distress that you're going to put inside the castle, and all the knights are going to fight for her honor and fight for her protection. You don't let anybody in that's going to bring damage. Well, that's kind of the sanctuary. And can you see this? How about back in that United States and Native Americans? Did we create in this country sanctuaries? Yeah, they're called reservations. We created these sanctuaries. We gave them sovereignty, supposedly, in those particular areas. We did what we could, in some cases, to make sure nobody came in and damaged them or invaded these reservations, these sanctuaries. Of course, it didn't last, and things changed. Starts off good, doesn't end so well. But again, we're going to look to this time on the Congo, because it is probably one of the most severe cases. So you're going to build a sanctuary. So we're going to, out of this Berlin conference, there go, well, who can we put in charge of the Congo? That very central, very heavily forested region of Africa. Who can take that? Who can we put in charge? Who would be reliable to take care and protect those people? Well, let's let King Leopold II of Belgium do it. Because why? Well, the reason why is because his father established Belgium back during the French Revolution and all the fighting back and forth as a neutral, peaceful country. It wasn't going to rise up in any problems. It wasn't going to stir things up. It wasn't going to expand. It wasn't going to contract. It was just going to take care of its own in a nice, peaceful, neutral way. It was constitutional country. It was very liberal focused. It was everything that a constitutional liberal country could possibly be. And the conference leaders thought, well, if that was his father's sort of way of running the country, obviously his son is going to run it the same way. And this is a picture of the Congo. It's that region. It comes out, it's like right in the middle of African continent. And I've outlined it so that you can see that on the part that comes on the Atlantic Ocean, that western side of the country, or that region, there is the Congo River. And the Congo River comes in and goes up and then comes down across and around to the other edge. That region is where Livingstone did his work. That's where he wanted to focus his time. And if you blew that up and you looked at all the little different spots, there's like the Stanley, who was his buddy, who came along. He was a journalist that came along and helped document his work. There's Stanley Falls, there's Livingstone this and Livingstone that. There's a lot of different things along the Congo because that's what Livingstone did. Anyway, the problem is that the reality is that Leopold was anything but his father. Instead, he enslaved the natives that were there. He forced them to harvest rubber and ivory, not for his nation, but for him. He sent his own private army. This wasn't the Belgium army, this was his private army. He sent his private army in to enforce this excavation, this pulling out of the resources out of Africa so that he could get rich. And I might link a video that is put up. There's now a museum in Belgium on King Leopold and all that he did, and some of the riches that he gained during this time. But as you can see for some of the pictures, the way he treated the natives was not in any way, shape, or form humanitarian. If they didn't meet their quotas, he would cut off their arms or cut off their hands and then send them back out. And this was children, this was older people. The conditions during this time was horrific, and it wasn't fixed for many years. And as it says here, you know, Belgium didn't sanction this. This was sanctioned by Leopold and his private little minions. But it was a very horrific time. But it was all done under the guise of bringing Christianity, bringing humanitarian efforts into the Congo. And I'm not trying to associate Livingstone's work as a missionary in that region. His seems genuine, but Leopold sort of jumped on that wagon and used the advancements that Livingstone brought to his advantage to go deeper into the Congo and take these resources and just brutalize these people. So it became a humanitarian disaster. What started in the Berlin Conference as a humanitarian good thing, we need to protect those who are weaker. The hope was that it would have a happy outcome, that everybody would benefit, that the people, the strong people, would feel good about themselves, that they would feel like that they're a positive part of the global community. They're taking care and protecting those who are weaker. But the result was terror and atrocities that the imagination cannot even begin to imagine. And the horrors, as I said, were not even uncovered until actually the 20th century, into the 1900s. Then it started to come out. One gentleman by the name of Joseph Conrad, he's an author, he wrote a book called The Heart of Darkness, which is a gentleman's journey up the Congo during this time, and he uncovers this evil that is taking place in the Congo. And it was an interesting, the title is very interesting, The Heart of Darkness. It's sort of a play on of ideas in that Africa was known for people who had dark skin. They were black, they were in the Congo where it's dark and damp and there was little sunlight, et cetera, et cetera. And it's at the heart of Africa, the very center, the middle of Africa. But really, as you're working your way through the literature, you're working your way through the book at this time, he reveals that it's not Africa, the heart of Africa, that is dark. It's the heart of man that was dark and was taking advantage and brutalizing these people. So if you haven't read the book, I encourage you to. It's a little bit of a difficult read for like a 10th grader, but if you're steady with it and you're just reading it, don't try to analyze it, don't try to do anything, just absorb it. Go on the journey with the main character up the Congo and see what you get out of it. So by the time this is happening, there's a major scramble. Everybody wants a piece of everything. Belgium has its little piece. Britain looks like it's taking over chunks left and right. And so France wants to take over and it wants its chunk, and Germany wants its chunk. And that's that mentality of survival of the fittest. They want their piece. They want to not be left out. So the end of this week, I want to end it with a challenge to you. I want to challenge you. Think about the ideologies that we've talked about that were in the 1800s. Which ideologies fueled the actions and politics and policies of the latter part of the 19th century and the first part of the 20th century? What's going on in people's minds? What are they thinking that they are looking at the world and they're saying, this is the truth about the world. This is the reality of the world. This is what I need to do. What ideologies are doing that? And are they going to end up with good outcomes or are there bad outcomes? That's what we're looking at, and I would really encourage you to ponder this week as we look at from ideologies to the new imperialism. Thank you very much.